Michelle here again, living in Ghana. I'm thinking of repeating that I moved here last year, May, 26th we landed. But then my mind, drifted, and I was there thinking that I am, slowly approaching 1 year. Still some months away, but May this year would be 1 year. It was last year that I sat there. I think it was last year, November. I was really, really introspective. Last year, November 2025. And I sat and I looked at this house that is yet to be finished. And I looked at the grounds, the weeding, my garden, a temporary fence, and I said, so many changes in 1 year. So many changes. Because 2024 November is when I made a decision to leave the US. And when I came here in May, everything was new. No, I've been here a while. I was looking at the house and I was thinking, there's so much more space than I had when I was living in the US just before I left here, because I was living in a RV. One straight space, narrow space, had enough space for us, yeah, but I lived comfortably in that RV space for almost 2 years. So being in a house now is a whole lot more space. Just this half side of the house with the 2 bedrooms. No, ma'am, I recently moved, for those who caught that video. So I moved out of the front room with my daughter into the back room, where I hope to house my mom eventually. But Carissa and myself is now in the second room, and Davia and Adrian is in the first room, right? But that's not what today's video is about, really. Today's video is, I want to talk about food, right? Food. I wouldn't say I'm a foodie. My children are foodies. Oh, they love food. My older daughter, she is health conscious. She has it has rubbed off on us, yes. And having been in Jamaica, lived in Jamaica, born and grew, just before I left the country, Jamaica that is, I lived on a property I owned. I could go out into my yard, cut plantains, take bananas, get callaloo. I used to just toss pumpkin seeds all over. So when I just lived on that property, when I just moved on to that property, I had so many pumpkins. All I did was give them. Well, I don't sell. Even here, there isn't the inclination to sell things. So I need to get that out there. I'm not a farmer to sell. I just want to be sustainable. I just want to go out to the back, get potatoes, get pumpkins, get vegetables. That's me. That's my limit. I want to be able to say to my friends, oh, I have callaloo, because so far a number of friends have eaten out of my garden, right? Whether it's potato or tomatoes, or the only thing so far is cucumber. I don't have a large, area with cucumbers, so it's one at a time, and when they come, we just cut them and eat them, right? But we enjoy food, yes. And in Jamaica, I didn't have to think about which food was good and which food was bad. We didn't have to think about chemicals so much in what we eat. When you went to the market, you're sure what you were getting. Natural foods, right? Not so much so when I was living in the US, you know. And it became a very strong concern. And I don't know for anyone else, but for me personally, there were lots of things happening to my body in the US that led me to the realization that even when you think you're eating healthy, you're not, you know. When I just went there, I just ate what was there. You know, the cabbage was weird. I cut up cabbage, and by the time I put it in the pot, it softens and so on. In the US, the cabbage, those cabbage stays in the fridge for months and they don't spoil, which was weird, you know. But it started affecting my stomach. I'd feel hungry, and I mean really hungry, you know, that dragging sensation in the pit of your stomach, like it feel like you're starving. And I'll eat, and when I start eating, it coming like I'm full in under, let's not use time, but before I've eaten half of what I have, I feel full. And then I feel, and it was this cycle, and it took me a while to realize that my stomach was messed up, you know. So we had to change. We had to stop eating certain meats. We had to stop, and we just started finding ways to make do, circumvent. Yes, not getting away with it, not getting away from everything, but we started finding ways to just not eat certain things, and then cut back on the fast food. And because it's convenient, you leave work, you're tired, you stop at Burger King, you stop at Kentucky, you stop at, after a while it gets to you. Plus all of that money going to, we changed. We had to change our diet. We started juicing, so we had to juice our beetroots and our oranges and carrots and so on, and boy, that was delicious, and it was healthy. Hypertension was something I developed. No idea how. At that age, I wasn't young when I went to the US, right? And I've never had blood pressure problems before. So I almost got swallowed up in the cycle of prescriptive drugs. And after the first prescribed one for my hypertension and the side effects, constant coughing at night, the feeling that my lungs were being torn out, I just stopped before I started anyway. Because once you get on the cycle of those prescriptive drugs, you never ever come off. And I just decided I wasn't going to do it. I didn't care what the doctors said when I visited them, because I went to doctors quite a lot, and one of the first thing they ask you if you have hypertension and if you're taking medication for it and so on. And I just said no. And I always waited for them to, you know, try to convince me that I needed to get the prescription for it. But funnily enough, they never did. But anyway, what does that have to do with food? Food is important to me because what I put in my body affects me, the total person, right? My frame of mind. I have enough to worry about without worrying about what is going inside. And one of the things people have to admit about Ghana, while there are things that I won't eat here, while there are things that I may not enjoy here, the food is natural. Natural to the extent as soon as you buy the cabbage, it spoils if you keep it too long. As soon as you buy the bread spoil within. I have very few breads that last a week. 2 or 3 days after I purchase them, and this is when I purchase them fresh, you're looking at it going, you can smell it going, right? And while you have to eat fast enough so that you don't waste, I prefer that. Now, what food is there? I only have US and Jamaica to compare to. The only thing right now that comes to mind, well, the first thing that comes to mind that I wished was here that was not, was saltfish. Yes. I was shocked to hear that saltfish is not here. That is saltfish how I know saltfish to be. I have since heard that they have codfish that you can dry and turn, and salt. And there is certain fish that they pull the moisture out of that gives you the same thing. Some of them look like mackerel and so. My problem though is when you walk through that, when I walk through that market and the meat section, the odor is very off-putting. So I'm afraid to buy meat here. And I know there are persons going to tell me that and I know there are persons who are going to say that there are meat that is good, and I'm not going to deny that. There should be. There are too many other persons who are not Ghanaian living here who have already acclimatized themselves to the food and who have found places where they can source this stuff. I'm slowly getting into it. So I'm just going to be talking about those things that I've been exposed to. Everybody asks you, have you tasted fufu? Have you tasted banku? I have tasted them. I've not built up an acquired taste for them yet. The banku is, to me, a little bit more palatable than the fufu. And I know fufu is widely known, widely embraced. I've not yet totally embraced it. I'm very sorry. No offense to those persons who love it. It's not something that I have. I keep telling myself if I ever make it for me on my own, by my lonesome, I think I'm still going to try and put seasons and so in there just to give it a taste. Because yes, it's the stew that gives it a taste and all of that. But anyway, I've tasted those. There's the usual chicken, which is mostly natural chicken. I know they have chicken farms here where the chickens are grown not the natural way, but it's still not chemical laden as far as I know. Do I know what chicken I'm eating all the time? No. The only thing I'm sure of is that it still tastes better than the one in the US. That Jamaica is just above all of this. Let's get that straight. I'm a little biased, but yes, Jamaica is out of the realm of the kind of food that you will get in US and here, right? So Jamaican food for me is just, there's no match for it, right? That's just my opinion. But chicken, pork, I've been to the butcher shop here. They keep the goat skin on. They keep the skin on for the oxtail. So the oxtail and the mutton here don't look like it usually. And the butcher shop is probably the best place to get the pork and the goat meat. We call it mutton in Jamaica. I don't know if they call it mutton here. They just say goat meat as far as I know. But I know that there are persons here because there are enough Jamaicans and Jamaicans and Jamaican Canadians and so on living here that those terms are known. But the butcher shop is where you get solid meat. Not saying that it's not going to spoil because I bought there already and the mutton never did taste too nice. It was part of it that I got was deteriorating or rotting, right? But fast food is here. A lot of their stuff is spicy. I mean, like really, really spicy. Chicken man food, full of spices. You have Pizza Hut here. I think I tried it once. The Kentucky here is very good. It reminds me of Jamaica. The cooking of the chicken, that is. Really, really nice eating, but tastes better than the American Kentucky. That's my opinion. The ones I've eaten. One of the things I realized, if I'm in Georgia and eating Kentucky, it may not taste the same as eating Kentucky in North Carolina. Fayetteville, those areas I can compare those. The taste is different. That's my opinion, please. Yeah. So there is one, I know many persons know jollof rice. I like jollof rice. And there's this place, I think you call it Love Care. Every time I go to near Pedu or heading for Abra Market and I can afford it, I have to stop there. They usually give you jollof rice with piece of chicken, whether it's leg or thigh or whatever, or wing. But you get rice, and I think they do fried rice as well. So there's a choice of jollof rice, fried rice with a piece of chicken. I usually fry up nice ripe plantains and sausage or frankfurters. I don't know what you want to call it, but sausage is also a choice, and that is to die for. They have this pepper. You get in this little container. It reminds me of Solomon Grundy. No, you know Solomon Grundy, right? Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on a Tuesday, married on a Wednesday, took sick on a Thursday, worse than a Friday, died on a Saturday, buried on a Sunday. Well, my mind just went off a while ago. Solomon Grundy, it reminds me of it, but the pepper is just nice, and it's nice with the rice. And then they give you this little slightly bigger container with your salad in there, your vegetables, not creamed you would call it, but I know they have mayonnaise and stuff, but it's really well done. That Pizza Hut Kentucky chicken man, not bad. The food is not bad. My only problem is in my bite, I can barely eat it up because it is so spicy. But those tastes, those foods are places that you can get. I'm afraid of the street food. I don't know how much I'll break into it. I don't remember the name. I call it dumpling same way, fried dumpling, but that's not the name of it here. That tastes really good. So when you buy that little fried dumpling in the morning, and cook, what you want to do, scrambled eggs or sausages or tuna, or me, you know, my callaloo bed is well used, so I could use callaloo with it. That's nicer breakfast. So in terms of street food, I'll go that far. They love care, yes, but I don't think there's anything else I'd buy. I wouldn't buy eggs on the street. I hear that it tastes good, and how they do it, it tastes good, and they have different ways of preparing the egg. That I've tasted egg stew, a lot of pepper. The person who introduced me to it used a lot of pepper, a lot of seasoning in general, blended all the seasoning together and cook up the egg in there, right? Tastes good. Not much else in terms of food for us, so we do a lot of experimenting with the things we are familiar with. Their idea in the main, ramen in the main. When I buy in the main, I think I'm pronouncing it right, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I said this already. I put egg in there. If I have chicken back fried up, I put that in there. Season up the pot with the in the main, and that's a nice meal for me. I was introduced by a diasporan, introduced to boiled eggs crushed with tuna, mayonnaise, you season, you know, like a little onion, sprinkle like a bit of black pepper, and so on. Not too many strong tasting powdered seasoning, but when that is done, you can eat it with rice. It tastes really, really good. I have cut corners where it comes to like tin. I got some tin soup recently. I don't really like tin soup, but what I have done is start my own soup, the pot itself, and then when everything cooked, I just turn that tin soup with the beans in it. They have one Harvest, I don't remember the name now, but that tasted really, really good with my soup. And then there are some other tin things that I can just use, season yourself and make it different. I'm all for integrating community wise and cultural wise and so on, but where it concerns food, I think it is something you have to take, you know, step by step. You know, it's not something that you can just decide you're gonna jump in. You have to be careful. They have been exposed to it for years. They grew up in it. You come, especially have very sensitive stomachs, you have to be very, very careful what you purchase on the road. But every normal food in the US is here. You have your rice, your flour. To me though, they are different in the sense they are a little bit more natural, right? Because even the sugar tastes different, right? I don't know about the flour and the rice. There's a wide variety of rice here, a very wide. Most of them are Asian in origin, but yes, a whole lot of rice. Banana is weird here. I hear they don't really use green bananas. You know, Jamaicans, we boil our green bananas with our yam and our dumplings. Whether we want to put cornmeal in it. Cornmeal is here. The only information I've gotten about the cornmeal so far is that if you have your own corn and carry it to the person who grinds it, you can get cornmeal. But it's not something that you just go into the shop and get. Just like how peanut butter is not something you just go into the shop. Oh, you have places here who has the US peanut butter selling at exorbitant prices, but in terms of just going in, you just don't go somewhere and get it in a shop normally like that. They have it on the roadside and you have to be careful where you eat it. They call it groundnut paste. I think I mentioned that too in another video, a previous video. The groundnut paste. Then there is oh, you know what I had recently? Palm wine. Crazy. When I drink that thing, you want to keep drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking, except it's alcoholic. So if it's alcoholic and you drink too much, you know, your headspace starts, you know, going. But I'm telling you, when I take that first drink, it's really, really nice. I had it at a restaurant, not so bad, but when I got it, when I went to Cocoon Park recently, it's a totally different thing. So I don't know why I stuck that in there. It's not really food, but yes. So when it comes to rice and dumplings, you can have a dumpling. They have the yam here, puna. I think they call it, I think it's puna yam. Yeah, but I hear yellow yam is here somewhere. Not yellow yam here yet, but I hear that it's here. Pumpkin, like norm. Well, I think they have big and small, but I've only seen the small ones. You know, even the ones that grow in my garden, they don't really grow large. I am not saying they don't have large pumpkins here. They do. I'm just saying the ones that I have seen, that I have had access to, are the smaller ones. That's all I'm saying. Of course, there's your sweet potato, your Irish potato. I don't see Irish potato so much here. Not sure why. So I haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet. But sweet potato variety is here. White skin, red skin. Don't know if they have any other skin apart from the white and the red, but I have seen the white skin and I have seen the yellow, the red skin ones. I was telling that bananas, they don't boil green bananas here. They leave the bananas on the tree until they ripen. So there are lots of ripe bananas, ripe planting, green planting, and so on. I don't want to stretch it out, this video out, but introducing yourself or wading to the whole thing of food here is up to you, the individual. My only caution is be very careful of especially the street food, right? And even the restaurant over here, you know, them have them bushmeat. Them eat them bushmeat. It's a part of, if it's a whole thing, a part of the menu, a regular menu here. It's not unusual. I have hunters who pass here and they hunt bushmeat. I remember one day one was passing on the road. I was at the side of the house and he heard the calling, and when I looked up, he held up what looked to me like a hare, H-A-R-E, and you know, asked him. I said no, because I'm not saying I'll never eat bushmeat. If somebody cooks that and give it to me and don't tell me what it is and I just eat it, probably fine. But I'm not going to be taking bushmeat from anybody to clean up and skin and so to eat, not me. I'm very sorry. I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't. Right? So bushmeat is a thing here. I know some persons, logically, nothing is wrong with any meat. You know, the Most High made all of them, and he made them to sustain us. He didn't want us to abuse them. But I understand the logics behind eating any meat. They eat cats here. They eat dogs here. What look like rat running in the bush? Bush meat. It's still meat. That's just how they look at it. All right. I have met one person who told me about the cats. I didn't even think about it before, but they say yes, they do eat cats and they do eat dogs. I'm not gonna go there. I look at Milo and Macy and I can't imagine eating them. All right. So, and I look at Bingo and Brody. Right. So I have 2 dogs and 2 cats. So the fact that I have 2 dogs and 2 cats that I feed, I can't imagine feeding them then killing them to eat them. Right? So again, you have to take your time and wade into what is here. Many persons take the safe bet and find like restaurants, because they have a couple of restaurants that are Caribbean centered or focused. So they prepare familiar foods, right? I don't mind doing the familiar, but I like to think that I want to explore. I'm doing it slowly and carefully, and I would suggest you do the same. All right. I hope you got something from this video. I don't want to go any longer, so I'm going to just sign out now, and I'll see you again in another video. I may come back again about food, because as I say, I'm still exploring it, so I may talk about it. I told Carissa to take a picture of the dollop rice and meat that we did. We ate it. Today is what? Right, so on the weekend, I think it was Saturday, we went into the Cape Coast Saturday, and I think that's what we had for lunch. But it's my lunch dinner, because I didn't cook when I come home. But largely, I eat what I cook, and then I mix up what I cook. What I have available, we do it, and we're enjoying it that way. We're enjoying using what we find in the markets here and so on. Well, we use the cabbage and we use the potato, but we're using them different way. Fried cassava with stew